Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna be bringing to you guys application gateway ingress controller. Okay. Before I start talking about application gateway, I wanna bring to you guys the documentation about Ingress from Kubernetes, the official one. Okay. If you Google Ingress Kubernetes, probably the first one that's gonna pop up. That's the one that you need. That's official one. And then doesn't matter your seniority. If you are very expert in Ingress, this video is for you. If you are just a beginner or you started your journey in Ingress, for example, this video is also for you. And I'm gonna be trying to cover in a very good way for everyone. Okay. So let's get started. Talking about Ingress. So how the Ingress works, right? So let's say today you have your pods running, and then you are exposing it through service. But you just found out that you cannot do such thing like a TLS termination. You cannot do route pathing. What else? You cannot place a DNS resolution domain name for your solution. Then you start to make some research and you found out the Ingress. So basically, with Ingress controller, you can do that, right? You can make routing path. So what that means is basically like whenever the user try to reach your application via path 1, it's gonna route to the service 1. If the client just try to hit your application through the path 2, it's gonna be redirected to the service 2, right? You can also have a TLS termination. You can also place your domain name. You can do a bunch of stuff here in your application. It's all fine, right? You can expose to it via HTTP and HTTPS, works like a charm. But then your application starts to grow, and the number of clients is also growing along with your application. And then you found the need of place a firewall in front of Ingress, for example. You know that your clients, for example, is communicating with your Ingress with the encryption data, right? Talking about HTTPS, you will receive encryption, and then your Ingress is responsible for encrypt and decrypt that, right? And this demands a lot of computing resource from your Ingress, and then the more it grows, less manageable it is, right? You're gonna need a better solution as Ingress for your architecture. Okay, and then of course, like I mentioned, if you want to place a firewall, you need to find also a good solution for that in place in front of your Ingress. And then depend on your architecture, that's in a long term, it's not gonna be nice. And then here is where I come with the Azure Application Gateway, the Ingress controller. Okay, what's the difference about the Application Gateway Ingress controller to the one that we know already, right? To the default one. The main thing is the Application Gateway Ingress controller is it's a service manager, right? So it's managed by the Azure. So probably you were watching this video, you have your Kubernetes solution, and probably you don't have your Kubernetes solution deployed in on-premise. That can be, but probably you are using it in cloud provider such as AWS, Google, Azure, DigitalOcean, whatever. But here we are talking specifically to Azure. So my point of view, it's very good practice. If you have a solution, you are using your cloud provider, you have your Kubernetes solution deployed there. It's also nice talking about latency, talking about management. It's nice and good practice to keep using resources and services from your cloud provider, as long as the solution, the resource, fits your needs, right? But talking about application gateway Ingress controller, we have a couple of features that it's very interesting for our scenario, right? We, of course, as our Ingress, we're gonna have the URL of routing, path base that I just mentioned. We're gonna have Cook Affinity. We have TLS termination. We have some supporting, and also a really good thing that it supports WAF, which is the web application file. So you don't need to be worried. Let me check if it's recording. Yeah, you don't need to be worried about find a firewall solution to place in front of your Ingress. So whenever you deploy your application gateway Ingress controller, not whenever, because we are talking about features, right? In Azure we have the concept of SKU. Okay, so it's about the pricing, it's about the level of pricing and features. But whenever you deploy with the feature of web application firewall, you can easily place a firewall along with your Ingress controller, which is application gateway, and this is all managed by by Azure itself. And whenever it demands computing resource from your Ingress, it's not gonna use from your AKS. It's gonna use computer resource from the Azure itself. Okay, of course you are paying for this service, but it's not using from your AKS. Okay, so here I'm gonna bring to you how you can make this deployment, how you can use this Ingress controller in your AKS. Okay, so here I'm assuming that, for example, you already have your solution, you have your AKS running, because you can make this deployment in 3 ways, right? You can deploy from the scratch. You're gonna deploy the AKS and enable during the deployment the add-on for the Ingress controller, or the way that you're gonna make. We have already Kubernetes AKS Kubernetes service. We're gonna enable the Ingress controller, and you're gonna make use of it. You're gonna make a deployment. You're gonna make use of it. And then there is the third way that you can use the current AKS solution that you have, and then make the installation via Helm. Okay, but we're gonna be using the second option. And then here I have some notes that I placed already. It's basically I'm gonna leave the link on the description of the video, but basically that's step by step about how you can make this deployment. I'm not gonna do it via portal. I'm gonna be doing that via Azure CLI. And yeah, so basically what we need to do. So here, as you can see, I'm declaring some variables, so some details about my AKS, and then step by step how you can deploy it. Okay, I'm gonna be exporting all these variables in my environment. So let's come here. We open this guy here. You just copy, just exported all these variables here. The first thing that we need to do is create a public IP to our application gateway. Okay, so let's create this public IP. Let's copy and paste. So basically, AZ network is the standard way that you can create service in Azure for the network service. Here I'm basically placing the public IP name, the resource group, that's my resource group where I want to make the deployment, the location, I'm going to be deploying in West Europe, the static, that's going to be, and then the SKU of the pricing, the SKU, the feature of this public IP. Okay, so let's run this guy, and then let's jump to the portal. Let's see if something has been deployed. Dev, let's check it out. Yeah, it's there. So basically, it's just telling some breaking chains, but it's fine. Let me clear the screen here. So basically now we have a virtual network, and within this virtual network we have a subnet. Okay, if you come here to subnet, we can find the subnet that I just created. Okay, so the next step, not this one. The next step is basically create a VNet. Okay, so what we are doing right now, we are creating IP, a public IP, and then we are gonna create a VNet, and this VNet we are gonna be using for our application gateway, because again, that's a solution. We have already our AKS, we have our AKS living in a virtual network, and we want to place that in a new virtual network, right? So let me copy this guy here. Well, I prepared everything in advance to make our lives easier and not just keep like looking for a command from the scratch. Otherwise, the video is gonna take super long. So here I have an error. It says subnet expected one argument. So apparently the subnet name was not grabbed. So subnet name, yeah, this is wrong. So I'm gonna fix in the documentation. So basically I'm gonna do this. This is subnet. I'm gonna copy this guy here, place, and then this is subnet create. Yeah, this is VNet, and then the VNet is gonna be created. I got an issue because of the environment variable that was calling is the wrong one. Okay, so okay, we should have here our, let me check it out, should have here our VNet. Let's come here to resource groups. Let me click here in dev. Let's check it out. Oh, perfect. We just created our virtual network. So now let's jump to the next step, which is create a WAF policy. So why do I need this WAF policy, web application firewall? This is because we're gonna be deploying our application gateway in with a web firewall, web application firewall, and from the moment that you create that, you need to have a simple WAF policy. And I'm just creating one. I'm not giving any rule. I'm just creating one to be able to create the application gateway. So let me just run this guy. AZ network application gateway. This should be fast. Okay, let me clear. If we go here, if you come here to this and run a refresh, should be here. It's gonna pop up soon. Let's quickly jump to the next step, which is create application gateway. So let me copy this guy here. So this is also wrong, I just noticed, so I'm gonna fix. Let me paste this guy here. I need to fix this in the documentation. I'm gonna fix for you guys. So let me just copy this one here, come here, remove this one. Okay, so here I'm basically creating, I'm gonna run and then I'm gonna explain to you guys. Before, let me just show you that the resource has been created. So if I refresh here, you can see that I have the application gateway WAF policy. Okay, so now let me run and explain to you guys why this is running, because this is gonna take some time to finish. AZ network, basically, like I said, that's the default command for the Azure CLI. This is Azure CLI for creating a network resource. So the network resource that we are creating is the application gateway. Here I'm giving the application gateway name. I'm not using variable here, but I should, but it's just placing here my location, West Europe. Then the resource name, that's where I'm placing everything, the same resource group. School, which is you have different ones, but here I'm using WAF, which is web application firewall, and it's gonna give you the ability to have a firewall in front of your gateway. That's very beautiful to see, very pretty to see. And then here it's gonna be using the public IP, right? Because you're gonna be creating a application gateway, and you need to have a front IP, right? And this is gonna be our IP, the IP we just created. So if we check here, the FPP, which is public IP, there are some abbreviations, standard abbreviation for in Azure, and this is the one for public IP. If you come here to our public IP, you will find, if it's too low, yeah, you will find the IP that I got for this public IP. Okay, so let's go back to our resource group, and let's go back to our step by step. No, it's better go back to our comment. So we are talking about the PIP. Then here we are informing, we are telling where we want to place our application gateway, which is the application gateway name, the VNet name that we just created. The subnet, so basically that's the subnet that's gonna be placed, and then we have priority. So let me check if I can show to you guys. If we come here in WAF policy, you will see that if you come here to custom rules, let me just create one here, add custom rule, for example. If we give like a random name, assign a priority. Yeah, this is the priority. The priority, there is a range of priority, okay? I don't know if you know about network security group. So network security group, you can define policies of priority to your rules. So basically, the smaller it is, stronger it is. So basically, let's say that you have a rule that allows something, and the priority is 1. This one is going to be always the first one. So this is the first one that's going to be executed, and that's not different the priority from the application gateway. And here the allowable range is from 1 to 100. Okay, so here I'm just picking up the 100 just for this deployment, but it's up to you. And also I'm placing here the WAF policy that is needed whenever we have this school here for the application gateway. Okay, the deployment is running. Let me cancel this guy. Let me jump to the resource group. This might take around 15 minutes or 10 minutes, depend on yeah, depends. But I'm gonna pause the video because I don't want to leave it running, since it's just a matter of wait, and then I'm gonna continue once it's done. Okay, we are back. So basically, you see here, it just your deployment has finished. So if you come here in our resource group, and you can see that application gateway has been deployed. And then let's go to our application gateway. Yeah, you're gonna see that has been deployed, but there is nothing going on. And the same IP that we created, it's the front end right now of our application gateway. Perfect. So let's go to the next step, which is enable the application gate ingress in Kubernetes, in Azure AKS. Okay. So let's first grab the ID of the application gateway, because that is needed to enable the in AKS. So let's quickly run this guy here. Not this one, not this terminal. I want this one. So basically, this is just creating a variable, and I'm gonna use this variable, which is the ID here. Actually, let me just do this. So basically what it's doing now. So right now we have, since we have already one AKS cluster running, we are enabling this. Let me check here. For example, if I open here for you, I'm using length to make it easier to understand. Like I said, I want to make sure everyone is going to understand. And length, if you don't know, it's a really nice solution. I have a video about that. It make your life easier whenever we talk about managing Kubernetes. Personally, I still prefer the CLI, but to make video class, I prefer to show via length. Okay, and then you can see that with the deployments that we have here, we don't have anything related to application gateway Ingress controller. So right now we are enabling this add-on here in our AKS, and then this should take like 10-15 minutes for enabling that. But and after enabling, we should be able to see. If I'm not wrong, should start be able to see something here. Of course, there is no deployment yet in our AKS, right? So we shouldn't be able to see much, but I think we're gonna be able to at least see some graphs here at the moment that this is enabled. Okay, but I'm gonna pause the video, and then I'm gonna come back in 10 minutes. Okay, I am back. So the deployment has finished. So as you can see here, we have an Ingress application gateway deployment 5 minutes ago. It actually was faster than I thought, because the last time that I make the same deployment, it took around 10-15 minutes, the same region. So yeah, just to consider whenever you are deploying, it can take longer than 5 minutes. So let's jump to the portal. If we check here, we have our application gateway. Let me refresh the portal here. Let's see if we can see something. Yeah, I still have almost 200 euros to use here. So let me close this. Yes, we don't have anything here yet. Let me just go to the pods and check the pod about application gateway. Check the logs. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the logs here running, and then yeah, of course. So if you remember, we make our deployment. We have our AKS deployment already, and it's in a different virtual network from our application gateway. And then if talking about Azure, when you have two different virtual networks, they don't communicate with each other. Talking about virtual networks, as long as you make peering between them. So if you make peering between these virtual networks, then they're gonna be able to communicate with each other. This is what we're gonna do now. So basically, we're gonna be grabbing the ID of the AKS VNet. So I'm gonna copy this guy here. I'm gonna grab the ID, because they're gonna be using this ID to create the peering. So if we check here, let me just copy this guy. I'm gonna execute, and then explain to you guys. So basically, here I'm saying like I want to create a peering, give a name to this peering, and this peering is gonna be located in this research group, and then this peering is from this virtual network to this virtual network. So I'm allowing the communication between them. So for example, right now, if I come here to my virtual networks, I come here to the virtual network that I created for the application gateway, you can see that I have a peering here. Okay, so peerings. Yeah, you can see that we have the peering here. But right now it's just talking from this virtual network to the other virtual network. It doesn't mean that the AKS virtual network is able to communicate with this virtual network. We need to make the peering for that also. When you do via portal, it gives you the same the option to make it both at the same time. But here, since we are doing via CLI, we're gonna execute one for each. Now we're gonna do the other way around. So we're gonna basically make the peering from the AKS virtual network to the application gateway network, virtual network. So I just grab the ID of the application gateway virtual network, and I'm parsing, and I'm gonna use to make these peerings. I'm gonna just leave it running. It's gonna be fast apparently. So if I just quickly jump to the virtual networks and I come here to VNet, let me check, just wait a little bit, and we should be able to see a peering with this name, AKS to application gateway VNet peering. We should be able to see this peering here in the peering session. Just yeah, we can see that, but it's still updating. So let's just wait a little bit. It's still with the stats of running. Yeah, let's just wait a little bit, and after that we have our environment or scenario ready to use in AKS. So basically the peering just finished. So let's refresh here. It says connected. Nice. If you remember, when we were connecting, we were to the application gateway virtual network, it was saying that there was a message, I don't remember exactly, but it was complaining about the peering. And now you can see that this message do not exist anymore. There is a peering between them. So they are both connected each other. So if I had a virtual machine in the other virtual network, and I ping another virtual machine in this network, they would work without any issue. Okay, so now let's go and make a deployment Okay, so what I want to deploy here is basically an Nginx application. So if you I don't have here, don't upload it yet. I'm gonna upload to the repo, to the GitHub, but I have here in my local machine. So I'm coming here to the deployments. So if you check here, there is also a typo here that I need to fix. But the first thing that we need to do is create the namespace. So let's kubectl create namespace and Nginx. So I'm just gonna create a namespace for my deployment. It could be any whatever name. I'm just giving this name here, just because I want. So after that, we are gonna create a deployment. So let's create this deployment. If you check here the deployment, it's a very standard deployment. Very, very simple, and it's gonna create 5 replicas for our deployment. And it's just an Nginx image, the latest one. Okay, so let's execute this guy. Let's make the deployment. Let's copy, paste, run. So if you check here in our pods, if you check here now in our namespace, we can see these 5 pods running here. Okay, perfect. There is nothing logging here, still in our application gateway, because it didn't create the Ingress connection yet. So let's go now and create the service. So if you can see here, my service, let me read this guy for you guys. If you can see here, basically I have very simple service which is pointing to the port 8 to the deployment using the labels. Okay, so I'm gonna make the deployment. I'm gonna make a deployment of the service. If I check here in network source, this source is there. Okay, and there is a cluster IP. And if you check here, there is something starting going on. Okay, in the application gateway, but still nothing about our Ingress. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna apply the Ingress definition. Okay, so let me just show you what I have here. It's a very simple Ingress definition. I'm just giving a name. I'm informing the notation about the application gateway. Just placing a path. Remember when I was talking about path routing? Yeah, I'm just saying whenever it's slash, it's just gonna point to this service here, the port 8. Okay, so let's go. Let's run this guy. Oh, not. I didn't copy. Let me copy this guy here. Okay, Ingress. Perfect. It says created. So if we check here, in Ingress, we have Ingress created. You see I got some updates here ready, so apparently something started to happen. 14 seconds ago is just created. So this is the public IP, by the way. So if we check in this IP, let's open a new tab here, and then let's connect to the IP. Nice, we have connection to our deployment. That's basically our Nginx deployment that we just made. Okay, if we go to our application gateway and we go to resource, you're gonna be able to see that, let me go to overview, you're gonna be able to start to see the graphs that something is going on. It's basically say, hey, I'm receiving traffic. So you see here that you can see that something is going on. So if I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna make a sequence of traffic here. I'm gonna kind of flooding this IP, this as a client. So let me do one thing. While true, do cur this done. We're just gonna, because right now it's just like a cur, just making a lot of requests to the application, to the address, to the IP, and it's basically generating traffic to to the application gateway. So we should be able to start to see the graphs and see some stuff is going on there. So let me check. Let me just refresh here. Let's check if we have something. Still nothing. Just wait a little bit. We should be able to see some requests and the total, all the requests here. So let me just open here also for you. If we come here to rules, you can see that a new no, not this one. We come here, application gateway, backend pools. Let me open here. Yeah, if you come here to backend pools, you can see that this backend pool was added, and you can see here the targets are 5 because that's our deployment. That's how it was created. Let me just come here to overview. Let's see something has been refreshed. Yeah, so basically you can see here now that we are getting a lot of requests. There is some delay here, a lot of delays that we have here, but you can see that we have got some requests. Let me just keep doing this. Let me just also make it less the amount of requests. So let me just do something like while true, do go while true, do cur sleep 3, done. So every 3 seconds, it's gonna be check if it's doing. Yeah, it's gonna be requesting send request to this page. Okay, so let's check in our application gateway. That's normal. There is a delay. It takes some time to update the graphs. So let's see where we are now. So yeah, so as you can see here, we got a lot of requests. This is basically myself doing the loop here of request, sending all the time. So if you see here total of request, yeah, you can definitely see here that we have successfully used our application gateway as Ingress controller. Okay. Yeah, of course you can make configurations about the WAF policy. Let me just come here to the policy. You can define policies, so you can come here now WAF and basically set block my IP, whatever IP. There are a set of rules that you can configure. You can custom rule. You can create custom rules here. You can there are a lot of stuff that you can configure here. There are managed rules. There are defined rules, predefined ones in the WAF. So you can see there's tons of them. So you have a solid application deployed in AKS using the application gateway Ingress controller, and is it behind a firewall, web firewall? That's really good. Okay, so with this I conclude my class, my explanation here. I hope everyone managed to understand. I hope at the end of this class you will be able to deploy, to make your deployment in your environment, and then enjoy, have fun. Bye bye.